Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Today is, I believe, day 8 on this 100-day journey. And I have to say, for those of you who are watching the replay and liking and subscribing my videos, I really do appreciate it. Those of you that join me every morning, um, like Christina, thank you, Christina. Um, Maybe one day we'll have the Christina and Sherry show. We'll see. But I appreciate you being here as well. So we're going to talk about jelly printing today. And I'm just going to take a few minutes to talk about, you know, this whole past week. Definitely, as I mentioned yesterday, I felt really accomplished. I felt empowered, but I am actually looking forward to these lives. And to be quite honest, I've been up at 2:30 a.m. Central Time in the States, and I tried to go back to sleep, but I was ready to go. So, I'm kinda ready to go this morning. Um, I find that during the work week, excuse me, I find that during the work week, because it's mentally exhausting and you're working and I'm trying to set time aside for myself, it can be a bit much, and that's okay. I'll have my good days and I'll have my bad days, but I find that my energy increases on the weekend because, well, yesterday I took a 2-hour nap, but um, but I was also up at 2:30 in the morning, so here we are. I did go back to sleep, but I tossed and turned and it just did not work out. So I should have just I've been up since 2:30 basically. Um, but that's okay. I'll probably have another nap today. And best part is we don't have to stop at 30 minutes. We can go longer with jelly printing. So, hello, my pop art. I can't believe you're joining me from Wisconsin. Thank you for that. Um, so yeah, we're going to talk about jelly printing today, and let's just go ahead and get started. Thank you for all ask me questions. I'll try to answer them if I see them. So I'll try to pay attention to that. All right. So yesterday I went over some basics of jelly printing, and I have to say I did go back and on top of this orange one that we were working on, um, and well, I could talk a little bit about this. So remember when I said that the Winsor Newton paints, this one here, this yellow is semi-transparent. Well, it's not going to show up on a darker color because of the transparency, right? So if you want to get around that, if you wanted to have like a similar tone or value of your gel print, so this was really orange, and then as the base layer, and then we tried to print yellow on top of it to show you the transparency. You could kind of see it, but you couldn't really see it, i.e., transparency. Um, if you add a little bit of white, or because and the reason why I say white is because it's this happens to be, and this is my white. Sorry, I use white a lot. Um, as you can see, this is opaque. If you add a little bit of white to the yellow, you're able to then get the print that you were looking for. So I just wanted to show you that difference. So if you go back and watch my replay from yesterday, this is the same orange pull base layer that we did. And then if you wanted to have like a similar tone, but your paint is semi-transparent, add an opaque color to it just a little bit, and it will help with that transparency, right? Because it becomes less transparent. I mean, I know that sounds like simple, logical, right? But not everybody gets it. So I'm just kind of explaining it for those who might have a question. Same, I did last night create this particular one. So I just did some basics, yellows and oranges. Um, I don't think this one was on there yesterday as well. So I did have a request for Posca pens and Sharpie markers on the gel plate. Yes, you can use them. No, they will not ruin your gel plate. Now I just have to say these Posca markers, if anybody's bought Posca markers, you know they're expensive. and the fat ones, um, and I think, Christina, you called it a MOPR Posca marker, like a but I don't recall. But anyway, point being is the really big fat ones. Um, I like using those, but I also have my little ones as well. The Sharpie markers, this is the king size Sharpie marker. And so we're going to play with those today. Now, I am creating on rice paper because there's another collage I'm supposed to be doing along with my other collages. And for those that have been hanging out with me, I had these collages here. Um, there's supposed to be another collage. So I need to create the jelly, and that's how we all got started on this jelly printing. I need to create more jelly prints for that collage. But for these to demonstrate this, the Sharpie and the Posca pen, I'm going to just use regular copy paper for that. So nothing fancy. But the first thing I'm going to do is I want to I'm going to take um I do not clean my gel plates. I like what's left over. So I'm going to take a base pool of this, and then we're going to start on the Posca pens and Sharpie markers. And I want to show you how I'm going to use stencils with these guys, okay? So, that's what's going on there. Any questions so far? All right. If you do, just drop them in the chat, and I am responding to all my comments, even on replay. So if you have a question and you're watching this on replay, drop it in the comments, and I will definitely respond to you. Okay. And for this just base layer, I know it's not going to show up this yellow, and that's fine. But I do need more orange jelly print, so I'm going to just create a orange jelly print base layer. And this is my pop art. I don't know if you have been watching the replays or not, but this is my 12 by 14 gel plate. Oh, it did come up. Okay. So we got a little bit of it did come up. I was surprised. I thought that the orange would have overpowered this, but again, it goes back to what I was saying, which was the opaqueness of the yellow and the white that was mixed on the gel plate. Obviously, less transparency, so therefore it pulled up. But also that demonstrates what I was talking about yesterday. Whatever's on the plate first, and then you put another layer on top of it, that's how it's going to be on your print when you pull it. So when you're gel printing, think about what's your first layer, and then you're going to layer on top of that. So if I would have left this on there, add some orange to it, add another stencil, whatever, right? And you're building up your layers and you're pulling one print, that whatever's on the first layer is going to show up as dominant on your print. Now, if you're using semi-transparent paints, maybe not, so just keep that in mind. Or transparent paints, yeah, you're not going to see those. So just keep that in mind when you're gel printing. Okay, here's the Posca pens in here, and I wanted to, I'm going to use this one here. Yeah, so my pop art, I also have a what's it, the 6 not the 16 by 20, yes, the 16 by 20 gel plate, and then they have a new poster size gel plate, like, when you go get poster board at the local craft store or grocery store, um, they have one that size. That's the one I want next. But I have a bigger gel plate than this one. I do use all sizes. My smaller ones, not so much. But my bigger ones, then I got several 8x10s. I got this 9x12. I mean, 12 by 14, and then I have the bigger one. So I do like the bigger gel plates as well. And also, I feel like I could pull, like, depending on my size of paper, I can pull almost 2 prints from it, right? So, the bigger you go, the more prints you can pull from it, or 1 giant sheet of butcher paper, right? So, yeah, my only problem with that poster size gel plate is the way I store my plates. I don't leave them in the clamshells, and, I actually store them on baking sheets. So my bigger one, my 16 by 20 is like on a baking sheet. The poster size one, I don't know where I would find a big baking sheet that would fit that. But I store them on baking sheets, and then I'll put like a dust cover over them. Usually it comes with the baking sheet, but if it doesn't, that's okay. I just try to prevent the dust from being on there. But to be quite honest, if dust got on there, just slap some paint down and pull a print, your dust is off. You may not want that print because it's all dusty, but point being is there is I cover them because I tend to maybe put something on top of it. And as you know, if anything sits on top of your gel plate for any length of time, it's going to put an indention on it. And that's one of the reasons why I don't um store them in the clamshells, is because um, while it protects it, don't get me wrong, and you manufacturer says that's fine, you can do that. Got it. But I just know over time I was getting some air bubbles. So it doesn't matter what surface you put it on, to be quite honest, you're going to get an air bubble. So, you do you, right? Okay. So now the Posca pen, because of the viscosity and of the gel of the Posca pen, it's going to tend to beat up. So, like, if I were to go into, I put this stencil down, and I'm going to color in, let's say, this spot here. You will see that it will start to beat up. Yep. You see how it's starting to separate right there. So, um, that's okay. I mean, to me, I just see that as creative, right? And so just let it go. And if that really bothers you, anybody that's using uh paint on the plate, if it bothers you when it beads up, um, then use a more heavy body paint. And Posca pens are not heavy body. So that's one of the reasons. Now it's not too bad. I've seen worse. The Sharpie marker, you just use it like you're going to write out with a Sharpie marker. There's nothing special about that. Um, and then I just cover it up. Now it's gonna. I'll say this: whether it's the Posca pen or the Sharpie marker. Wow, I can't talk. Um, it may take a couple pulls to pull up. So the just it's not going to stain your plate, and to be quite honest, staining the plate doesn't matter to me. Um, it's it's part of the plate, right? So I've had these plates for several years. They're turning a little yellowish, and that's okay. It's not going to hurt your print. And most of the time, I find that when I am working on jelly prints, I have something else in mind, and so I don't mind the imperfections that comes with gel printing. I hope that made sense. Now, if you're doing something I've seen some artists out there who are doing like an image transfer and then they're painting on the back of it and of the they're painting the image transfer. Let me rephrase. They do an image transfer, then they paint over the top of it, and that's not nice, neat painting, okay? And that's okay. It doesn't have to be. And then they pull the print. Um, it's because of whatever it was the image transfer that lays over the imperfections of the print. So what I'm trying to drive at is imperfections on your plate. I don't really think it matters at the end of the day. I mean, maybe to some people because that's the type of artist they are, and that is totally fine. Imperfections to me is part of the journey and part of the process. And I see jelly printing as like the old Forrest Gump movie, right? It's like a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're going to get. And at the end of the day, this is really a type of mono printing, which means one pull, right? You're never going to be able to create that print again. Even if you use the same colors and did the same steps, I have a hard time believing you're going to pull the same print. So it's a mono print technique. That's awesome. That's awesome, my pop art. Yes. So, um, I hope that kind of explains my thought process on imperfections. It it's a thing. It's going to happen, and it's part of the process. So, all right. I'm just making a little. I'm going to go over this orange paint here, and I'm going to pull out some other colors here. Just one second. These are just my two big markers. That's all I have are these two big markers. I haven't bought any other ones yet. Um, just trying to use what I got. All right. Okay. Now, on the other Posca markers, these obviously are finer tipped Posca markers, and um, they're not going to make a hole in your gel plate, but they don't cover very well as either, right? So you see how it's not. Hold on, let me just dab it off and make sure that we're fully loaded. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're fully loaded. Okay. Oh, there we go. It just took a minute. But see how it's not going to cover as nicely, but it will do the job. So I'll just go in these little I'm not going to color all of these. Don't worry. I just wanted to demonstrate a few things because I know I have someone who was up yesterday and I forgot she wanted to see this, and she said I've already spoken with her. She's a good friend of mine. Trust me, I got some flack because I didn't do this yesterday, and she got up to watch. So, I deserved what I got. So, uh, she was nice about it. Don't get me wrong. But in any case, um, so anyway, she's gonna watch this on replay. So, I'm doing this for you, Kara. Anyway, um, okay. Let's see here. Let's just add a few more, and then we're gonna move on from coloring this. Okay, I think I'm good. All right. So that's one way of using your Posca pens and your Sharpie markers and your stencils. Now, this is going to take a little time to dry, to be quite honest. I mean, this one's almost dry. This is not as dried yet. Now, what I've seen is some people they'll take a cool hair dryer to their gel plate. I don't add any heat or anything, I tend to be the type of person that kind of fans it, or I will take this and set this aside and use a different gel plate. So that's why I have more than one so that I can keep my process going. Um, this is almost dry. If I were to put paint on top of it, it will mix with the red. Yeah. The blue is still wet. So I'm going to pick this up and this was not planned. Um, you know what? I'm going to do something else. I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to put this to the side and I'm going to show you something else that you may not have thought of. Okay. Have y'all seen this plate before? It's called an impresslet. One of the I forgot who makes them. It's either Gel Plate or Gel Press or Gelli Arts. Can't recall. But this is a presslet. And what this presslet is, it's a thinner gel plate. I mean, it's like I would say almost half the size. I have a video on this. It's one of the very first videos I've ever made. But basically it's an embossed or debossed, whatever you want to call it, gel plate where you have gel ridges. So there's a texture on top of here that you can use as a gel plate. So, as a stencil. So if I were to, well, let's see, let's just use this one. If I were to go back over, now this is not going to be the best looking gel plate, don't get me wrong. Print, but it'll demonstrate what I'm talking about. If I were to use the presslet while that other one's drying, what is it? Oh, this is a transparent. Okay. Let me add a little bit of white to it. I need a new white. Presslet. Impresslet. IMPRESS blah blah. Yeah, Impresslet. I think it's Gelli Arts or Gel Press. I think it's Gelli Arts. That's what I want to say. I don't know if you have you seen them? My pop art. All right. You see how the paint right there, it went in between the grooves? So that's not how I would not really use it this way. I would mix my paint onto the side and then put it on top. But let me find my brush. Here's a brush. I'm going to dig that. And the reason for that is because of the paint that gets in the grooves, right? So get out of there, paint. There we go. I couldn't decide which way I wanted to go with it. Yeah, so the thing my pop art, I like them, but here's the thing. You're kind of stuck with the same texture. So I think this is the only one I have. I want to say this is the only one I have. However, and I don't use it often. However, I do like it. But I think I would get the smaller one, if that makes sense. And so that I could get more than one. They're fun to play with. Oh, I love this. This is why I don't clean my gel plates. I'm so excited. Check that out. Look at all that grungy goodness I got. So that's basically the reason why I leave it on there. Leave the paint on there. It's not going to damage your plate. And you could use to get additional texture off your plate. So I just like it. That's just me. Now, is the pink, that the pink that I did there that good? Probably not, but who cares? Right? I like it. Okay. So let's see if the other one's dry yet. If not, we'll do another pull. It's not 100% dry, but we'll go with it. All right. I can't promise no mixing of the paint will occur because there's still some wet parts, but we're going with it. All right. Since I have yellow here, I think I will use yellow. And I am going to use some copy paper, basically old school papers. Yep, that's right. The grunge, you can always use them somewhere in your art. So love it. Love it. Okay, I do have a little bit more. See, some of that red did smear, and that's okay. Have a little bit more yellow, but that's okay. It's not too bad. I wasn't as thick as I thought I was. All right. Okay. So as you can see here, there's still Posca and there's still Sharpie on the plate. Now, when you use, like I'm using these old school papers for my child's work, the ink from this print will transfer onto the plate, as you can see right here. Okay. I knew that it would not come up the first time. And let's see how this one does. There we go. So again, that is the pull that we have from here. And as you can see, it's still on the plate, and that's okay. It did try to pull up this orange. There wasn't enough paint on there to pull that orange up, but then it left some marks on the plate. Okay. So what we could do next is we could go ahead and just do like a base layer, and then whatever we get, that's what we use. So I'm going to use this. This is semi-transparent. Hold on one second. Something in my throat. 1 second. So, Kara, real quick before I move on, and this is for you. You can use your Posca pens and your markers on them any way you want to. You could draw, before I go on to the next thing, you could draw big, giant circles if you want to, right? So, like, if you wanted big circles on your plate, you could. I thought I had another marker, Posca marker, but I guess I don't. But it doesn't, whatever you want to do, be freehand with it. Don't be afraid of using Sharpies and Posca markers on your plate. It's like a drawing tool is how I would pretty much call this. And then it's going to take some time to uh, to get it's not going to take a couple, it's just going to take a couple pulls to get it off your plate. It's not going to ruin it in any means. So there you go, Kara. That was for you. Um, and now we're going to go ahead and do a pull. This is going to be wet, but that's okay. Another thing I was thinking about is if you want to, you could put a drawing underneath your gel plate and then take your Sharpie marker, which I don't have anything on me right now, but you could then take your Sharpie marker and you could outline. No, I haven't, my pop art, using examination table paper. That's kind of like tissue paper in my mind, the thinness of it, but you could definitely try that. Have you tried that? Oh, you love it. Okay. Medical exam paper is the bomb. Got it. Okay. So you both like that. And would you say that that's kind of like tissue paper? Let me know. Because the thinness of it makes me think that's more like tissue paper. Maybe a little thicker than tissue paper, but it's very similar in my mind. Okay. Christina, do you know if that's kind of like tissue paper? Oh, okay, but stronger. Okay, so would it be like, okay, here's what I found funny. Ready? And I need to do a video on this. Wet strength tissue paper. Does that not sound like an oxymoron? But okay. So I think that um oh, gift wrap tissue and wet strength tissue. Okay. Yeah, I think it's funny. The using the term wet strength tissue paper. I just find that a little funny. But it's a thing. I don't have any yet, but I definitely want to play around with some. It's probably cheaper, right? The medical exam paper like cheaper than the wet strength tissue paper, or do you just get more of it for the price compared to what you get on wet strength tissue paper? That that would be my question on that. So as you can see, the the Sharpie markers, they come off pretty easily. The Posca pens are the ones that are going to take you a little bit longer. And also it depends on how much you put on your plate as well. So um when it comes to Posca pens and Sharpie markers, I just use them as any regular old tool. So yes, cheaper, get in rolls for my daughter free. Oh yeah, that is cheaper for sure, my pop art. That is a lot cheaper. Okay. Let's go ahead. I need some more for this other collage that I want to do. I got 2 yellows. I got like a mustard orange and I need another orange is what I really need. Okay. Sorry, I'm doing some thinking on the colors. That is a lot of orange. So we'll walk through that. I got way too much orange there. We'll see how it is when, as I was speaking yesterday in my live, when you get too much paint on your plate, how to remedy that and what to look for on just the right amount of paint. Right now, I'm just mixing the paint. I want a little bit more brown. So we're fixing to get sloppy here. It's not slipping and sliding as if you'll appreciate this, my pop art. It's not slipping and sliding as if you would on like ice or snow, right? So more ice. So it's not too bad of how much paint is on this plate, but what I always like to do is a thinner layer of paint. So you'll get to the point where your paint just starts lifting off your roller, and that's one way to uh, remedy this situation as far as how much paint is on your plate. I can't get two on here, so I'm just going to do one. All right, let's pull out mine here. Now I'm just creating a base layer because I want to do like an orange on top of this darker orange. So not sure how much we're going to show, but I was just looking to see what this was again. Oh, it's semi-transparent. Okay. So it may not. May have to add a little bit of a color to it. Maybe a yellow or something. Maybe two semi-transparents. We'll see. All right. That's a little, you can tell that's a little wet. So we'll just let that sit there for a minute. Where is, what's this one? Semi. Okay, I don't know about y'all, but Winsor Newton paints, I love them. They are my faves. I mostly jelly print with Winsor Newton paints, especially when I'm doing a collage like this. But the tops, I can't get them off. I always have to use pliers. Do y'all have that same problem with your paints? All right. This is still a little wet. Hopefully it won't stick to the plate, but we'll see what happens. Sometimes when I really push it, I may get a little sticking. Yeah, I haven't, Christina, I haven't used Amsterdam. I've heard some great things about that. Yeah, I understand what you mean by pop art. As far as like, you know, um, those with carpal tunnel or strength in your hands. Yeah, that diminishes over time. So maybe that's what my problem is. So I use my handy dandy pliers. Okay, this one turned out pretty good. So I got this tone on tone for this orange. Now, because it's a stencil, obviously I don't have to tell you, right? The negative space is the darker color that I just put on the plate. And what's in the center here, or the lighter, is the orange that I put on there first. Oh, I got two Christinas, huh? I got a Tina and a Christina. Awesome. Are there any questions else that you had about jelly printing? Now, for those of you who are watching on the replay, and my two Tinas and Christinas that are on, on the call with me, in the comments, um, March 29th, I am going to have a Q&A call on all things jelly printing. So the only way you will be able to be invited to that call will be to join my community.com. The link is below in the description of the video. So ratchet up your art at community.com. And once you join that community, you'll be invited to the question and answer call on March 29th. So if you're interested in that, make sure you go sign up for my community. That's a tongue twister. I don't know why why they would name it like that, but they do. So here we are. All right. Yeah, there you go. I put it in there on top for you so you can see it. But again, March 29th, live Q&A call on all things jelly printing. So I don't know if you saw what I did there, that I got the reverse, right? So that's the reverse of the two images. Oh, sorry, you can't see that. There you go. That's better. So you have a more one with a background that's dark or lighter versus one that has darker. So it's the same colors. I just reversed the images there as far as like what I pulled up on the plate, because the darker color was definitely the lighter color was definitely on there. So these two match. Yep. And let's see if we can get some mustard yellow going, because I need some of that mustard yellow. Don't have any more. Oh, I bet I don't. I bet I don't. Did I use 4 sheets? Oh, no, here it is. Well, after I do this pull, I'll show you, I'll, going back to what I said earlier, I'll show you something here. As soon as I pull this. Thank you, my pop art. I will, right after the live, I will go in there and make sure to go ahead and approve you. Okay. So one thing I wanted to draw your attention to on this gel plate is that when we started with Posca pens and Sharpie markers. And as you could see, they're gone. It just took a couple pulls to make them disappear. So, and it didn't ruin my plate. So there you go. I just wanted to point that out. Man, about time for some more coffee or something. Okay. Where is my bubble wrap? There it is. Okay. Is this the one I want to use? Okay. So the stencil here has a lot of holes in it, right? And something I like to do is to take one stencil, and when it has a lot of negative space on the stencil, then I like to take the bubble wrap and almost have 2 prints in one, right? So taking the bubble wrap to pick up this. Okay. Then I'm going to lay this down. See what we get here. If it's still got a lot of moisture in it, I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what we get. Again, yep, I've done that too. Christina is clean my gel plate with baby oil. And you know, I think Dina Wakley also makes some conditioner, gel conditioner. I have to tell you though, when your paper's really starting to stick, that's the time to do it for sure. But the other time is the only time I've really had to use baby oil, mineral oil, or the Dana Wakley's condition is when you'll see some of these people will store their gel plates with paper on top of it to prevent the dust, or I think even one of the manufacturers says to do that. But my issue with that is it pulls the oils out of the gel plate. So I don't store it that way. That's why I do like a dust cover. And also I get it. It also helps prevent air bubbles, right? Because paper won't leave an air bubble as long as you smooth it out. But I just it just depends on what type of person you are, on artist you are, right? I'm going to be more go with the flow type artist. And when I did use the paper and it pulled out the oils out of my gel plate, that's when I had to use those mineral oils. So I typically just don't do it. When it gets rusty and crusty like this, and there's layers upon layers upon layers that build up, um, I will pull them off my plate. I don't like I'll pick at them. Something satisfying about that. So I will pick at them. And I like these little things that I pull up. You can definitely use these in collages. What I like about them is they have I don't know what's going on. But maybe my allergies are kicking in or something. But gluing those onto collages, those are cool. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that there, but you can see where I did the stencil, and then I had the bubble wrap. The colors are very similar, so that's why it's more of a tone on tone print. Okay, I think this is going to be the last print for now. We have gone over almost 30 minutes, so we're going to pull this last print and then we'll close out. Oh, I knew I had two pieces of paper there. It felt like it. Okay, that's what I call my dismount print. My last print is what I call a dismount print. So I just went ahead and put another color on top of what was on my plate and pulled it up. Paint skins, yes. Love paint skins. Some people will clean their brayers using Murphy oil soap or something else. I just wait until it builds up and then I start peeling it off and then get a big giant paint skin. Love paint skins. Okay. So there you go. Let's go ahead and go back. So again, I learned a lot from this week of doing my collages and doing some jelly printing for another collage that I'll be starting here alongside the others. They'll be really easy. They won't be embellished. They'll just be really easy collages, pretty plain basically. But I need to get those done as well. And so I have really enjoyed, this creative journey because I feel really like I've accomplished something for the day. Like that's why I would look forward to this every morning. When I first started 4:30 a.m., I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, that's going to be hard." And there's going to be days, especially when I work, where it's harder than others, but it also has shifted my mindset when I go into work. That I've accomplished something. I feel my mindset's more positive. I can take on any challenges at work. Um, and it reduces my stress. And so that's why I started um teaching jelly printing and my artwork that I create and sell, and these lives, this 100-day journey is all about stress relief and making time for yourself. And so that's what I really enjoy doing, these 100-day lives. One would think, "Oh my gosh, Sherry, 100 days of going live every morning at 4:30 Central. You are a crazy woman." I've heard that, but I've really set time aside for myself. My family is not up right now. They're all asleep, and I don't have to deal with the chaos, and nobody's asking me for anything. So that's why I chose 4:30 AM. And then I just switch off the camera and I go to work. And I've accomplished something already before work even started. So that's what the 100-day journey is for me. In my community, um, I have some journaling prompts that help you reflect, but a place for you can show your art and the progress that you're making through this 100 days. So feel free to join that. And I hope you have a great day. And tomorrow is Sunday. And so I can do some more jelly printing. If you're interested in seeing more jelly printing, go ahead and drop those comments in the just sorry, my throat. Go ahead and drop those comments below, and I will demonstrate those things for you as well. So, um, let's see here. What is school classroom scores journaling and for art? I should. Yes, yes, my pop art. I used to be an art teacher before I went into the corporate world. I didn't know that there was such a thing as jelly printing, and uh, jelly printing to middle schoolers. Even when I started, my son was very young. He was like 5. They can do it. Any age can do jelly printing. Now, the difference between the different differences between the age groups, right, is my 5-year-old would just put 2 big blobs of paint, roll the brayer a couple times, and how much paint he puts on the plate, may not have been like what you wanted, but the fact is he was doing art. And for a person who did not like art, that got him to art. So, um, for middle schoolers, you could definitely use, color mixing. I don't know what type of teacher you're having, but what type of teacher you are, but color mixing, if you're an art teacher, would have been perfect for this. So anyway, y'all have a great day. And if you want to learn anything more about jelly printing, drop it in the comments. I'll hit it tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you for joining, Christina. Thank you, my pop art.